Welcome to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, considered the little Switzerland of America because of its mountainous terrain and winding streets. In fact, this is a place where no two streets intersect at a 90-degree angle, and there are no traffic lights. History and modern culture mix brilliantly here to create a true hidden gem tucked away in the Ozark Mountains. So get your traveling pants on and get ready to shout Eureka! When it comes to unique, it's hard to compete with the melting pot that's Eureka Springs. Settlers from as early as the Civil War were drawn to this area by legends of a great healing spring, rumored to have the ability to cure crippling diseases. In 1880, the area was incorporated as a booming city, boasting a population second only to Little Rock by 1889. Eureka Springs is so diverse, and it's hard to find any place more interesting to stay than the 1880s Creset Hotel and Spa. You see, it's considered the crown of Eureka. It epitomizes the town's Victorian architecture. June Westfall, the city's historian, talks about the early development of the Crescent City.
Some of the very first people who came here to live were men who were quite gifted as carpenters and builders. The builders who worked in stone used the local limestone. They built mostly commercial buildings. The carpenters picked up their tools and they began to build in wood. They decorated the houses with hand-turned, hand-sawed bits of wood. That's what we call the gingerbread, all those ornamented trims that they placed on the houses. And the architecture that in Great Britain and in Europe was made from stone and that type of material. Here in America, carpenters who worked with simple hand tools were creating in wood that same type of Gothic architecture, and that's what we have to a great degree in Eureka Springs.
The Crescent Hotel is considered America's most haunted hotel, hosting nightly ghost tours for those who are supernaturally inclined, if you buy into that kind of stuff. Visitors and TV crews come from all over the world to test their mettle against the Crescent's ghostly inhabitants.
It's known as the most haunted hotel in America, and I think that's not necessarily because the same vision gets seen, you know, but what we do get is a lot of sightings, a lot of recurrent stories over the decades. We get the same story happening in the same place. People come in and tell you things that they saw that don't know that it's part of the mythology that has been seen before.
I think what I've seen is one of the ghosts, and I'm like the most skeptical person ever.
Certainly not a haunted house here. We just tell the stories. What we do is we tell the history of the building and interweave it with the legends of the ghosts.
I think the history on the tour is probably the thing I like the most.
Eureka Springs, as you probably have heard, grew up overnight when the Indian healing spring was rediscovered and found, and then from a population of absolute zero, it went to 15,000. Coming here looking for healing and, of course, bringing their ailments with them. And then a fellow called Powell Clayton, who was the first governor of Arkansas after the war between the states. One of the things he did was to bring in a railroad, and that brought in a different clientele, and he built this hotel at the end of the railroad line to accommodate those people. For the first 15 years of its existence, 20 years, we have hundreds of testimonials of people who did get cured by the waters, and then they kind of diminished and faded away. So to keep this building alive, they converted it into something else. It was still a hotel in the summer, but in the winter months it became a conservatory for young ladies. Then in 1937, a fellow came here who was extremely well known all over the country as a broadcaster. His name is Norman Baker, and what most of his programming was devoted to was selling what he called absolutely guaranteed cure for cancer. Well, he had never set foot in medical school in his life. He didn't have any cure for cancer. He just had a good eye for a fast buck. It's always been a hotel apart from those two breaks. One is a school and one is a hospital. But those two breaks are the times when most of our ghost stories come from, especially from Norman Baker period when the place was filled with sick and dying people.
And you are more than welcome to go into the meat locker, and we can turn out the light and close the door, and you guys could snap some photos.
On more than one occasion, guests have gotten more than they bargained for.
I did feel a wave of sickness a couple times.
People feel something happened to them, even if it's only a feeling on the back of their neck, or they feel like they got poked or something. They're sure they left it down there and they find it over there.
I was scared to go to bed last night. Like I was like looking over the blanket, making sure nobody was there.
95% of the stuff that happens can be explained by rational means, but there's maybe about 5% out there that defies explanation, and that's where it gets interesting.
Coming up, we check out one of Eureka's freshest restaurants, and a little later, we take a walk on the wild side with some really big cats, so stay with us. No matter your taste, Eureka Springs offers some creative presentations by expert chefs and a delectable range of menus that has something there for everyone. This is Fresh, a restaurant that is focused on seasonally prepared foods. And what's interesting about it is its owner, Ken, actually came here from a larger city, from New York, to a smaller town, and he has been able to overcome some of the challenges of actually sourcing locally produced and organically grown foods to prepare for his menu. So why don't we go inside and check it out? Ken, this is so good. Oh.
Thank you, I'm so glad you're here.
Tell me about these mushrooms.
Those mushrooms come from Adams Acres Farms. They're located in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
That's the distribution part of the equation, isn't it?
You bet.
You can't run all over the 3 counties gathering up what you're going to serve at night.
The concept was fresh, so no processed foods if possible, that sort of thing. And then we added the farm-to-table component, and in pretty short order, I realized that I was doing a lot of traveling to get the products that we needed. So, for example, we have a fish and chip item on our menu that has a huge following, and there's really nothing local or organic about it.
No, but
the potatoes,
it tastes good.
It tastes good. And so then when we get into dishes like these, where 100%, with maybe the exception of your peas, are local and organic, including us making our own pasta.
Sure.
There's variations on our ability to source different menu items.
Yeah, it's just outstanding.
Thank you.
Today we are making one of our new items for the summer menu. It's our pasta carbonara made with handmade pasta. We're going to serve it with some organic chicken from Crystal Lake Farms, which is a local Arkansas free-range chicken producer. Start with a little onion on medium-high heat. Next we'll go with a little bit of prosciutto. Usually let it saute for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Once the onions and prosciutto start to brown and sweat nicely, we're going to go ahead and add our nice local mushrooms and a tab of butter. And at this point, we'll go ahead and add our chicken as well. I like to add a little bit more fresh cracked black pepper. Works really nicely with a carbonara sauce. Once we allow that to get browned pretty well, we'll go ahead and deglaze with some white wine. By deglazing with the wine, the change in temperature allows those pieces to come off of the pan. It's a flavor that you don't want to miss out on. Add our heavy cream, some nice sweet peas. And we're just going to let this reduce for a minute until it reaches a paste consistency, which is where it'll coat a spoon. We don't want to over reduce it because by adding the egg yolk really helps to thicken the sauce. I'm looking for the entire surface to be covered by little bubbles in between all the little ingredients that are floating in around there. That'll mean the sauce is about to reach its thickness point. And I already have my water boiling nicely. I'm going to go ahead and hit that with a couple teaspoons of salt, splash of olive oil. Remove the chicken off to the side and let it rest. Redistribute all of its nice juices. And the sauce looks about ready. So I'm going to take that off the heat for a minute while I add my fresh pasta to the water. For fresh pasta, it's 45 seconds for this recipe because we're going to undercook the pasta a little bit and then finish it in the sauce. Take the sauce back to the heat just to get it back to its nice little bubble point. Go ahead and strain that off nicely. Usually when I add a fresh pasta to a sauce, I'll add a little bit of olive oil. We'll take it off the heat, hit it with a little bit of our fresh shredded Parmesan, and then this is the most integral part of a carbonara, is adding the egg yolk in without overcooking it or letting it scramble. So I'll begin to stir this and then very quickly stir that in. And sometimes you might have to add just a little dash of heavy cream to loosen it up if it gets too thick on you. Get all those little goody bits in there. And then we're ready to plate.
Up next, they don't call Eureka Springs one of the top art towns in America for nothing. We get up close and personal with some of the artsiest residents around, so keep it here. Who doesn't like art? Whenever I travel, I always like to check out the local scene. And here in Eureka Springs, they have a series of storefronts, almost like a little village where each artist has their own studio/display. It's really a lot of fun to check out. Come on, let's take a look.
Well, we are the coolest place in town, the Art Colony, and we're full of all eclectic artists. My name is Adam Blue, and I do custom stained glass, and I mainly can take any photo and turn it into a stained glass window.
The Art Colony is an amazing place to be creative. I've been painting since I was about 5 years old, and I paint because I have to. I think that it's that power that's greater than me that restores me to sanity. If I'm not painting on a regular basis, I can get weird.
Everyone does anything from woodworking to scrimshaw to just fine arts.
It's just a collective of souls. They get together and be creative. And creative isn't just making, it's being.
We're here to give free tours when people come by, and they start usually on Wednesday and finish up on Sunday. If you want to buy something from the artist, that's great also. People should come to the Art Colony just for art fun. It's just a unique adventure in art. It'll inspire you, and especially if you're an artist for sure, it'll give you ideas, and people just fall in love with the place and they come back year after year.
To me, it's about communication. It's a nonverbal communication, whether if I'm doing something abstract and I'm not giving somebody a form to base some ideas off of, and I'm, it's just color or movement, just making more lovely out of the world.
Preserving the natural landscape is important to the locals of Eureka. In the last several years, the city has undergone a lot of construction in pursuit of keeping the area green and beautiful. One of the current projects is the restoration of Lake Leatherwood Park.
Lake Leatherwood City Park is a multi-use park. There's an 85-acre lake where all kinds of boating activity, fishing, that kind of thing. And we have about 25 miles of trails, multi-use trails, biking and hiking. We have a master plan at Lake Leatherwood City Park that we're currently executing, which the intent is to make it self-sustaining. As it is, we're subsidizing the park and have for a number of years. We're trying to put it on its own 2 feet, trying to enhance the recreational opportunities there. Another exciting thing that we've got going on at parks is a master plan for trails that the city formally adopted last July. And the intent there is to essentially double the amount of trails we have in town, which is about 30 currently, but even more importantly, tie those trails together, connect them, make it a trail system, where you literally can jump on a trail anywhere inside the city limits of Eureka and stay on a trail and move around within the system. In a town that struggles with parking and with narrow streets, it will also serve as a transportation system. I foresee in the near future where there'll be enough trail in place where by foot or by bike, you can pretty much go wherever you want to go, and safely.
Coming up, lions and tigers and bears, how nice! Since this show is focused on the unique, you'd be hard-pressed to find any place as interesting as Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. Hey there, big guy. Kitty, 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 kitty. Started in 1992, Terpentine Creek provides a home for abandoned, abused, and neglected big cats. And when I say big, I mean big cats, with an emphasis on, yes, tigers, lions, leopards, and cougars. And this 450-acre ranch is the home to over 130 of these large felines, as well as other endangered wildlife like some big bears. Emily, this is one big kitty cat.
It is. This is Mac, a male tiger.
This is very much a wild animal.
He is a tiger, fully clawed. His canines are there, so this is a dangerous animal. Currently, we have 102 cats, and we also have 6 black bear. 102? 6 black bear and a grizzly bear, and most of the cats are tigers. But we have lions and cougars and some bobcats and leopards.
So, Emily, tell me about the need for sanctuaries for animals like this.
Just tigers, they estimate there's between 5,000 to 7,000 in the U.S., and there's only 3,200 left in the wild. So only 7% of those animals are in zoos and sanctuaries.
So let's talk about the difference between a sanctuary and a zoo, because I know a lot of zoos are dedicated to the preservation and conservation of certain animal species.
Sanctuaries are necessary because these animals that are here and rescued out of sanctuaries aren't genetically pure. Zoos do a lot of conservation work and breeding for species survival plans. And these animals are the generic, the American tiger. You know, they're Bengal Siberian mixes, they're Sumatran mixes.
Well, I'm sure that a lot of these animals come from situations that are questionable. You really don't know what sort of how they were treated.
Right.
You know, they're like abused children.
Exactly. One of the best things that this sanctuary does is get those animals to gain trust in people again. We don't ever trust them. They're a wild animal.
Right.
This is a good distance.
So to bring them out of their shells, as it were.
Right, and know that they're going to be well cared for. They're going to get fed and watered and vitamins and medicine when they need it and live out their life peacefully.
Want to learn more? Visit PAllenSmith.com for delicious recipes, garden tips, blog posts, and our online store. And make sure you sign up for our weekly newsletter. Stop by and stay a while. Okay, we'll be back right after a short break. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. We've seen that Eureka Springs is full of history, the great outdoors, local flavors. So don't let the cat get you by the tongue. Get out there and tell folks about Eureka Springs and come visit. Until next time, I'm Alan Smith. You know, with this need, how can people help? What's the best way that they can make the lives of these animals better?
Well, Terpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge is a 501c3 nonprofit,
Sure,
so all
people can
donations
contribute.
are tax deductible. We are one of the largest facilities in the country that's open to the public every day.
Didn't realize
but
that.
Christmas, so people can come and bring their families, and we have guided tours that they can go on every hour. They can get an education about the animals and conservation, but also about what they can do to help the animals that we save.
The Crescent Hotel is known as America's most haunted hotel. They have nightly ghost tours here. Of course, if you believe in that mumbo jumbo.